Football is supposed to be beautiful. Goals, skills, magic. But on one September afternoon in 2003 in Manchester, beauty turned into chaos. What followed wasn't football, it was war. A war that changed reputations, rewrote history, and created enemies for life. This was the Battle of Old Trafford. What happens when two masterminds become desperate to win at all costs? They turn into madmen. Getting close to the stadium that afternoon,
it's a welcome worthy of the occasion.
There was nothing normal about the atmosphere. The tensions had reached a boiling point. Alex Ferguson's Manchester United team, the most dominant force in that era of English football, now had a challenger. The only team to stop United from winning the league in 2 of the 7 previous seasons was Arsène Wenger's Arsenal. The philosophies couldn't have been more different. Alex Ferguson relied on building the best team in English football to dominate the competition. David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo, Ruud Van Nistelrooy, Roy Keane, Ryan Giggs, Rio Ferdinand. But Arsène Wenger, on the other hand, was building a system, blending science, tactics and flair. Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, Robert Pires, Patrick Vieira, Ashley Cole, Sol Campbell. Wenger had come with a plan. He knew that playing his rhythmic passing football at Old Trafford could be suicidal. So he dropped Robert Pires and Sylvain Wiltord and replaced them with Ray Parlour and Freddie Ljungberg. Hard-working, combative, physical players. It was a brave decision. And so, on that sunny afternoon, when referee Steve Bennett blew his whistle, the entire country tuned in. The 2 best teams in England, and yet, somehow, they looked the same. In the 4th minute, Cristiano Ronaldo left Ashley Cole in pieces. A sharp step over, a cut inside. Cole slipped, almost doing the splits. Even years later, Ashley would laugh about it, saying, "Whenever I hear his name or see his face, I always think of when he made me do the splits." That moment set the tone. Fast, fierce, and personal. And in the 13th minute, Ronaldo won a free kick from Gilberto Silva in Arsenal's half. Ryan Giggs stood over the ball, whipped it with precision, and came within inches. It shaved the post. That near miss reminded both sides how fragile this battle was. One moment could change everything. United could sense an opening, and Ronaldo was the key. In the 19th minute, he won another free kick near the corner flag. Giggs delivered it again, this time targeting Van Nistelrooy at the far post, and the Dutchman came inches wide. It looked easier to score than to miss. Arsenal should have been behind, and that was the wake-up call they needed. But the game was already heating up in other ways. In the 22nd minute, Roy Keane received the first booking of the match after a hard tackle on Lauren. The battle had officially begun. Arsenal began to keep the ball more confidently. And in the 24th minute, Thierry Henry released Ashley Cole after a quick break, and the left-back came close to giving Arsenal the lead. It was just wide. Just 5 minutes later, Ronaldo whipped in a cross, but it struck Ashley Cole's arm inside the penalty area. Ronaldo screamed for a penalty, but the referee only gave a corner. Arsenal were lucky. There was no VAR back then. The first half ended with both managers cancelling each other out, knowing that one small moment could decide it all. As the second half began, disaster nearly struck for United. Gary Neville misjudged a long ball and left Freddie Ljungberg through on goal. Neville stumbled. Ljungberg tried to adjust, but tripped over the fallen defender. Goalkeeper Tim Howard gratefully collected the ball, and United had escaped by inches. The game continued to intensify. In the 54th minute, Kono Touré was booked for a foul on Van Nistelrooy. And just 7 minutes later, Quinton Fortune sprinted down Arsenal's left flank, only to be brutally stopped by Martin Keown. The referee didn't hesitate. Yellow card for Keown. The tackles were getting nastier, and the temperature on the pitch was rising fast. The second half dragged on. Every foul now felt like a spark waiting to ignite the fire. And in the 78th minute, it finally did. United knew Patrick Vieira was the trigger. They just had to find ways to activate him, and that's when they staged one part of the plan. Arsenal's captain was already showing signs of frustration after a long physical battle. He was booked for a foul on Quinton Fortune, and everyone sensed his temper was about to snap. Ferguson saw it, the United players saw it, especially Van Nistelrooy. Stage 1 done. The second part was getting Vieira to react again, and that didn't take too long to happen in the 81st minute when Vieira and Van Nistelrooy clashed in the air. As they landed, Vieira, already on a yellow, lifted his leg slightly, and Van Nistelrooy reacted instantly, throwing his arms up as if he'd been kicked. It was the perfect act, enough to deceive referee Steve Bellet. He genuinely believed Vieira had kicked out after the coming together with Van Nistelrooy, and he had no choice. He sent Patrick Vieira off. The Arsenal players were incensed. The replays were clear. Vieira never actually kicked him. It was Van Nistelrooy's reaction that sold it. Still, Steve Bennett had made his decision. Vieira had to go. But the Arsenal captain wasn't leaving without instigating a fight. Now the emotions started spilling over. For Arsenal, this wasn't about getting a win any longer. This was simply about escaping Old Trafford alive, going back with something, a result. The storm was still brewing. In the 84th minute, Ronaldo caught Ljungberg from behind, injuring him and earning a yellow card. The tackles had turned ruthless, frustration and adrenaline taking over. Time was nearly up. Quinton Fortune went in late on Ray Parlour and was booked as well. Every player seemed on edge, and yet the real explosion was still to come. Pretty soon the clock ticked 90, Fergie time. Wenger could see it in the eyes of the United players and fans. He knew this game still had one more big moment, so he had his Arsenal team sit even deeper, mark the United players man to man. Big mistake. In the 91st minute, a cross from Ryan Giggs swung into the box. Martin Keown, desperate to stop Diego Forlan, had his hands all over him. Forlan went down and Bennett pointed to the spot. Penalty to Manchester United. Keown still couldn't believe what he'd done. He just gifted Manchester United the chance to steal the win with seconds left to play. And standing over the ball, the same man who had helped get Vieira sent off, Ruud Van Nistelrooy. Bennett blew his whistle. Van Nistelrooy ran up and smashed it. Off the bar. In that moment, Keown couldn't contain himself and let it all out on Van Nistelrooy by celebrating wildly in his face. Seconds later, the referee blew for full time. Fights broke out everywhere. Lauren, Tura, Keown targeting Van Nistelrooy. Roy Keane rushed to defend him. Lauren immediately had a go at Ryan Giggs. The fans, the players, and the entire world watching could see what had just unfolded in the final 20 minutes of an epic. It was mayhem. Arsenal had survived. United had blown it. Van Nistelrooy ran straight down the tunnel, head down, humiliated. But there was no escape from Wenger's post-match words.
I think Van Nistelrooy doesn't help, frankly, and he's a great player, but his attitude is always looking for provocation and diving, and he looks a nice boy, but I think on the pitches not always a fair behavior.
He called Van Nistelrooy dishonest. Yet deep down, Wenger was relieved. He tried to play Sir Alex at his own physical game and almost paid the price. But fate had sided with Arsenal. 9 months later, they would go on to do the impossible. 38 games, 26 wins, 12 draws, and 0 defeats. The Invincibles. They won the war that season, but their true test was how they survived the Battle of Old Trafford. Heartbreak for Van Nistelrooy, but he wouldn't be the last Dutchman to let darkness take over with the world watching. He was simply proof that Dutch football had changed. It had turned dark. Click on the next video to uncover the dark truth you didn't know about Dutch football. And please don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic football histories.